go.
Good evening. Welcome to Sound Off. My name's Don Tessier. I'll be the moderator tonight, sitting in for Linda, who has the night off with her family. And in a few minutes, I'll introduce the co-hosts to be here. Remember, our phone numbers are on the very bottom, so if you have anything you'd like to get off your chest, tonight's the night. So I'd like to welcome Dave McWilliams, who's been on the show with me many times. Dave, welcome. And I'm going to let you start off because I know you got a bunch of papers there that you want to talk about.
Well, thank you very much for asking me to come on this Republican show. And I always call in when Linda Kirker has guests on. She has a lot of very good guests. She's been, I think, the longest running live show since it's public access has been here in St. Albans.
Yeah, she does a good job.
Yeah, she does an outstanding job. I want to put in a plug for the St. Albans Historical Museum on Church Street in St. Albans. Today I had a chance, I went up there and I saw a couple of the guys and they asked me to come in, and I'll tell you what, there's so much history there in that museum that if you don't go up there and see what the history of the St. Albans area and some of Vermont pictures and the ferries that used to come into the bay and hook up at the bay dock, is so much history there that, you know, you have to take it in. And don't think you're going to walk in there an hour and walk out an hour, because you could spend a whole day up there because they got so much. Back in probably in the 70s, they used to have these black machine guns over near the monument right out in front of the Church Street School, and they got that up there inside the museum. They've got pictures of the trolley car that was used coming down from the city.
And went to Swanton.
No. It went from the city, went down
Main
Street, and then down to the bay dock. And then there was a ferry there that brought people, and they came up into the city. Alan Mashter, who's our highway department guy, he's done an outstanding job. You know, he'd like to see if anybody's got one of those trolley cars. He'd like to put it down at the bay. So if you know any trolley cars that people want to donate, that'd be a good article for down at the bay, you know, because he's done an outstanding job. We got walking paths down there that the town has spent a lot of time and money on. The bay dock out on the L part, he's put park benches, he's put picnic tables. In the area where on the L, he's also painted that all green with a special type of paint, that it won't pollute. So he's done a lot of work in St. Albans town. So I want to make sure I put a plug in for him, because we got him from the city of St. Albans. We stole him, and he was an outstanding worker, and he still is. And I hope he stays until he retires, because he's been a very good asset to the town.
Has he cleaned up the water yet?
The only way it's going to clean up that water is we're going to have to get a lot more money from the state. They had a meeting of the but the watershed down at the park, and I was talking to one of the people that were there, and, the bay hasn't seen so much seaweed this year, but now it's starting to come in.
Because of the heat.
Yeah, because on Georgia Shore, there's a lot, and down at the Bay Beach, the water is so low that the town, when I was on the sled board, we bought this rake.
Yeah, I saw that.
Would go up and down and pick up all the seaweed and anything that came up on the shoreline. So, it's really good that the town is taking interest. The city of St. Albans has Taylor Park. We have the Bay Park. We have Cohen Park. Cohen Park is another very good place that people...
And that water over there is usually good because it's the broader lake.
That's right.
It's not in the bay,
yeah.
So it does help clean itself. I've been down there before, Pauline and I, and it is a nice place to go.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think sooner or later is going to have to happen is that the outfall line, which leaves the sewer plant, comes down Lower Newton, cuts across where the state highway garage is, and goes down onto the Brigham Road, and then the Kellogg Road, and then it heads down to behind the Boisno Farm. I think that line, which is a 36-inch line, should be moved and put it right out in the middle of Lake Champlain, because there's so much sediment behind Black Bridge that, when the plant was never upgraded when they should have done it, because there wasn't a lot of money back at that time to keep the lake clean. So, but if we move that outfall line and put it all the way down Lord Newton Road right out in the middle of Lake Champlain, I think the bay would clean up a lot faster.
Well, I've said this before. When I first moved to Vermont in 1959, we had a camp on West Shore, and on the weekends, if you didn't get there early, you couldn't get a spot. And I can't remember what the color of the license plates used to be, but now they're blue and white. They were all Canadians that came down here because of that beach, and they stayed on the weekends. And of course, that's when they had the store over there with the
Bay store.
Bay store,
Yeah.
and the post office was in there, and everybody made money. And I think they had a little store across where the gas station is, so everything. But it was nice to see it used. Of course, the water was nice and clean.
Yeah.
All right, what else would you like to talk about?
Well, I want to make sure that people, if they want to call in and ask us any questions or make a statement.
Yep.
You know, as long as it's clean and above board, we'll accept any phone calls here at the studio. Our number is 528-5315, 528-5315. And if you'd like to call in and talk about any issue which is affecting our area, just to let you know, at 2 o'clock this morning, there was a stabbing at the La Quinta up on the Fairfax Road in St. Albans Town. One guy's in critical condition, and there's 2 people they're looking to arrest, you know, to bring him in and interrogate them.
They escaped?
Well, basically, they got in their vehicle and took off down I-89 because it's so close to the interstate. They are from the state of Massachusetts. You know, stuff like this shouldn't be happening in St. Albans Town. But as the crime moves up from the bigger cities to these smaller cities, that's why we still have an opiate problem. I worked on a case in Georgia. This girl was so strung out that, you know, she was out looking and knocking on her neighbor's doors looking for her dog, and she was so burned out on drugs that they had to have her give her that Arcan stuff, you know, in order to revive her because she passed out. You know, and a lot of these people have animals, and most of them are pit bulls.
Oh, gosh.
You know, so guess who had to go get the pit bull? You know, and that was fun. But you know, people got to realize that this stuff is not good for your system. And you know, if you want to die fast, you keep on using the opiates. You know, because that's what's destroying. I see on tonight's news, Mr. Leahy got what, $9.2 million to be used for combating the opiate problem in the state of Vermont. You know, he's brought a lot of money back to Vermont. I know some people don't like him because they think he's been there too many years, but you know, I guess he brings the money home, and at least that we're getting some money out of our Washington office.
Well, I'd like to make a comment about that, okay?
I figured you would, that's why I mentioned his name.
No, not about the 92 million or whatever, the opiate deals. They need to start putting these doctors in jail who are overprescribing this stuff. I don't know if you watched 60 Minutes a while back, but they had something on there in West Virginia, and I forget a couple other states where it was Florida, matter of fact. That's what comes to mind. The guy was, I forget, he was one of the top persons pushing this stuff out, and I think he is going to do prison term. But these doctors are giving that stuff out for
like candy.
Right, candy. And so, I mean, these opium people, I feel for them, but, you know, I got sciatica right now, and it bothers my leg and stuff like that, and I'll be darned if I'd ever take anything like that. You got to suffer a little bit in life, all right? I know it's not going to be forever and ever with me, and I know some of these things here, but these doctors and the prescriber and the people who distribute it are there. And I think they just had a big lawsuit for some company in California. I forget how many billions of dollars that they were awarded to fight this off. So, yeah, I want to help people who need it, but these people need to know that it's short-lived. It's not going to be for the rest of your life. On South Main Street, okay, we have a place every morning filled with people, and I would give them a punch card and say, okay, this is it. You're going to have to suck up a little bit of pain and suffering.
Well, you know, those clinics are because of the pharmaceutical. And the doctors, you know, giving this stuff out like there's no. My wife went in for a hip replacement, and they gave her 30 days of pills.
Yeah.
Oxycodone.
Yeah.
So we got a call. It seems
Yep.
good that we got somebody who's listening to us.
Hello, caller.
Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, I'm told.
Can't hear you, call. Well, he hung up. It sounded like he had a bad connection.
Well, try again.
Yeah, we love calls. It doesn't make a difference who you are, where you're from. You know, we just love to have people call into the studio.
Okay.
Let's try again. Caller, you're on the air. That's a fax phone. In our studio, Rick, Nick, is that on our fax line?
It's 528-5315.
Okay, call her back. You know that we got the fax. You know, so I'm hoping that you'll call back sooner or later. We'll get to you. So feel free to give us a call and talk about any issue. Our number is 528-5315. 528-5315. We love calls from anybody. We have over 5,400 viewers here in the public access viewing area, so we'd love to have some calls. That way we know you're watching our show. Caller, you're on the air.
I'm calling that sheriff's department. I noticed that the sheriff found the boat packed down there. It's not being used. I'm just wondering why it's just sitting there and not in the lake being used. Also, I know that the city PD here, they're stretched out. You know, they have the town that they patrol. Now they just got Highgate. And now rumor has that Sheldon is coming up available for police protection. And also Georgia. And I'm just wondering, the city only can take on so much. And it's surprising to see that big expensive boat just sitting outside the sheriff's department. I was just wondering what's happening as I say regards to the sheriff's department.
Well, first of all, you know, Mr. Taylor, who has 29 police officers here in the St. Albans City Police Department, I can remember when I represented them, they had 18. But now they got 29. They're not all certified. There's 5 down at the academy. Basically, have you ever heard of, I think it's coming. I'm just speculating, so, you know, I'm just, you know, telling you I'm speculating. You ever heard of regional policing?
No.
Regional policing is where I think he wants to take over all of Franklin County and dispatch through their dispatch system, and there will be only one law enforcement agency here in Franklin County. Of course, the Sheriff's Department, if that happens, will no longer be in existence. So I hope that doesn't happen. You know, right now, St. Albans City Police Department does patrol in Highgate, and I know they're looking at other towns, but they're not coming out publicly and saying it. So it's the point of, you know, what's coming next. Tomorrow night at 5:30 on the St. Albans Today Show, you could ask the mayor, because he's going to be on there if he doesn't be on vacation. So you can talk to him about, you know, what is regional policing? Is the city of St. Albans going to that?
I don't think I'm in favor of that.
Very good on that. And so I say, I just surprised to see that boat's been sitting out there for almost a month. And why it's not in the water? Why it's not being patrolled? And, you know, as I say, with all this pollution going on with the, again, as I say, with the town, Highgate, and Sheldon, and coming up, and so is the Georgia. But that's my opinion. That's all I have to comment on tonight.
Oh, thank you very much for calling. But talking in reference to the Sheriff's Department boat, that boat is federally funded. It's supposed to be used in the area of the Canadian-U.S. border. And it's too bad that it doesn't get used more often. I think if Mr. Langevin, who's the head sheriff, could use it more often, I think it'd be a good idea to put it in St. Albans Bay. There is talk in St. Albans Town, it's just talk right now, about having a harbor master. A harbor master basically is somebody who'll oversee where you're going to, you know, have your boat in the bay, and they're going to tell you where to park it, and there's going to be rules and regulations. Well, basically at the last select board meeting, it was just talked about, but they said they got volunteers. Well, volunteers are going to need a boat. So who's going to pay for the boat? The taxpayers of the town of St. Albans. That's what's going to happen,
Yeah.
because a person, volunteer, can't use his own boat. So sooner or later, that police boat in St. Albans town, the city police department wants to buy a boat,
Well, they have
patrol.
one, the sheriff's department has a boat.
Yeah, that's a federally funded boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be used in the bay. I'm not sure of the regulations on it, but the sheriff's department, I know some of the officers, and they're doing an outstanding job in, Franklin County. I just heard, the gentleman that just retired from the state police, Mr. Lamoth?
Yeah, Mo.
Yeah. Guess where I heard he might be going to work?
No, where?
St. Albans City Police Department.
Well, Elijah did that,
Yeah,
then becomes the
Yeah.
sheriff, yeah.
yeah.
Because he retired from the,
Because you're made to retire from the state police
Yeah,
after,
right.
after 55. So I'll tell you what, if he goes down there, he's a good state trooper, a retired state trooper, and I think he'll make things happen down there.
well, I'm all in favor of control, but I was listen that they're going to try to control where you put your moorings and stuff like that. There's not we got a bay, we got a dock down there that you can rent to put your boat. And your mooring, if you want to have a camp, I used to have Dr. Sussland let me keep my sailboat in front of his house with a mooring on it. All right, I don't see why I need to go through paperwork to put a boat down on there, as long as it's safe and stuff like that.
We don't need a harbor master. You know what that means? If we have a harbor master full-time in the summertime, and the cost of his budget,
Yeah.
and then a boat, the taxpayers of the town of St. Albans have come to the point where, enough is enough.
Yeah, we don't need a harbor
It's
master.
not Mallett's Bay, it's not
Right.
downtown Burlington.
It's not that crowded.
That's right.
Now, if you go to Mallett's Bay, I don't even think they have one. They
I'm not
they
sure.
police their own business. They got so many marinas down there doing the work and stuff like that. It's just government taking control again.
Yeah, well, what it is, everybody wants to make St. Albans town more attractive. Well, we can make it more attractive by not
Put
having a
lipstick
harbor.
on it. That's all you need to do, make it more attractive. Put lipstick on it, not a harbor master.
Well, I don't want a harbor master, because it's too costly. The taxpayers of the town of St. Albans,
Well, we got workers' comp, then you're going to have an assistant, because he's not going to work 7 days a week.
That's right.
So we're going to have somebody going there. Whoever came up with that idea is crazy.
Well, something, it's coming, there's people in the town pushing for it, which I don't think we need it at this point. Maybe in 20 or 30 years, maybe it'll be a lot bigger, we'll have a lot more boats and more marinas, but right now we've only got that marina, and he's probably got about 50 boats down there.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. People aren't going to come into St. Albans Bay when it's green. So what's the harbor master going to do?
He's gonna take a rake and rake it into shoreline.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it becomes dirty, all right. Now, when I first moved here in the 50s, like I said, we had a camp on the West Shore. We actually drank the water right out of the lake. We just ran it through charcoal on a faucet, and the water was clean. We never died or anything like that. But in the summertime, it's hot. It's green. Boats won't go there. They'll go to New York, and they'll go to Mallett's Bay, and they'll go to Burlington.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a waste of time even talking about it. But I don't know who's trying to promote it. And to buy a boat like that, you're talking some serious bucks. I'd rather have them buy another fire engine for us.
Well,
all right?
I won't talk to you on the air who the people are, but I'll talk to you off there. So
Yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me.
No.
We'll find out. But the people out there who live in the town of St. Albans, who might be listening tonight,
Yeah.
should call.
Call their selectmen.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them, on there.
And Carrie Johnson, the manager, call her and tell her you're
Yeah.
not in favor of it.
Yeah,
And put
well-
your name down on a piece of paper. I'm going to
What-
stop and talk to Carrie
What you
about
need
it.
to do is call everybody on the select board,
Board, right.
because they're the ones that make the vote.
Yeah.
It only takes a 3-2 vote. So, it could happen. So you've got to talk to your select board. Everyone on there needs to hear where you're coming from.
Right.
Because, our taxes right now, are getting to the point, our town tax is not bad. It's a school and education tax. We need to find another way to fund education. I know you're going to disagree with me because you're a Republican, is we need to fund education through an income tax base.
Income tax base.
Yes,
So,
based on your income. If you're working, you're going to pay into the education fund for for the state of Vermont, because right now under Act 46, everything goes to the state, and then they tell us what the tax rate is, and then we have to collect it, and so a lot of that money goes to the education fund. So why can't we do it on an income tax base?
I'm all in favor of education, but I think the education's got out of line in certain cases. Some of the things that they do, all right, when I was in school, all right, we didn't do the things like them. These field trips that they take up to Jay Peak to go in that water park, all right, they don't need to do that and pay reading, writing, arithmetic I'm for. We didn't do things like that. I don't mind if they take them on calls and take to say the beach down at St. Albans Bay, all right, or Camp Kilcare, or one of those for a day or so, because that doesn't cost a lot of money. But when we have to pay private enterprises to entertain them, and we're turning out people who can't do basic things, and they can't even do their checkbook because they don't know how to go do things. Okay, so I'm all in favor of education, but not recreation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, our schools need to start teaching our kids financial responsibility.
Yeah.
Back when I was in high school in BFA, we had a home economics class. They showed you how to balance your checkbook,
Yeah.
how much money you had to spend, and see if you could balance your checkbook. And we need to get back to that, because a lot of kids can't balance their checkbook.
And their parents aren't taking the time to do it to help them out.
They're too busy. Either they're working two jobs.
Two persons working, right?
Yeah, and the kids are left alone a lot. So to me, I think you're asking for trouble when you leave your kids alone too long.
Yeah.
Also, I think we have to do in Franklin County. By the way, our number is 528-5315, 528-5315. If you'd love to call in, we'd love to have a call. We need to do something about that daycare system.
Yeah.
It went from 7 pages to 17 pages of regulations.
And a lot of daycares shut down.
That's right.
Because they didn't want to go through all that rigmarole.
Yeah.
I know my children went up St. Paul's United Methodist Church in kindergarten. And
my kids do.
And they had the teachers there, and they turned out all right without all those regulations.
Yeah.
I mean, the government gets in and screws things up big time, and then they want to get back inside, so they want to raise taxes on the taxpayers because they screwed up.
I have a relative, my son's girlfriend runs a daycare. She gets between $150 and $200 a week per child.
Right. Because she needs to, because she has to hire so many people in order to have it in compliance with the state of Vermont. And guess what? It's taking money out of your pocket if you're a parent doing that, and the child is not getting anything any better.
And they have to have an associate's degree now.
Yeah.
So, all those regulations.
What about just people who love children? That's an associate degree to me. All right, what do you teach? You're not supposed to be teaching them a whole lot. You're basically a modified babysitter for a while. And they probably read stories to them, all right? But anyways, that needs to be addressed. We ought to get some of the people from the legislature in our town and to get them up here and start asking them a lot of hard questions on why they keep doing that. Now, getting back to, before I forget it, you picking on the Republicans. What about the Democrats in Burlington who want to disarm their police officers?
I think that's totally ridiculous.
Really?
Law enforcement officers, it's not England where they walk around with a bandana or one of those sticks. Today, with the amount of firepower that some of these druggies that are coming up out of New York City, Boston, and those other places, to totally disarm our police department, somebody's been smoking too much pot lately.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because recently, the weekend just ended, correct?
Yep.
In Chicago, all right, and I actually sent an email to CBS News asking them why they keep talking about these things out in El Paso and there were shootings. Why aren't they checking out every weekend the deaths that go in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Baltimore? Over the weekend in Chicago, this past weekend, there were 6 killed and 36 wounded. And they're right. On August the 26th, there were 3 killed and 17 people wounded. All right. Recently, there was 7 killings and 14 shootings. So I sent a thing to CBS and said, why aren't you covering these things here? Because Chicago, if just go Google it, or just if you have an iPhone and you talk to that lady, I don't know what they call it, but I said, how many killings were in Chicago over the weekend? And she'll give them to you. So, and these people who want to disarm our law enforcement down in Burlington, they're crazy. If I was a policeman, I would turn my badge in and say, okay, let the vigilantes take care of your girlfriend, and they won't, all right? I mean, I can't for anybody even thinking about disarming a police officer. And look at over the weekend, there was a few police officers killed by people, not just innocent people being killed.
I want to talk about our vice president, Mr. Pence. Do you know he was in Burlington?
He was in Vermont too.
Yeah.
He was down in southern part of Hubbardton's down. He was down in southern
He flew
part
to
of
Burlington Airport.
Yep.
Do you know how much it cost us last year, the last time he came in here? How much do you think?
Oh, maybe
Of course, the
20,
Republicans like to spend money. Don't say all the Democrats do.
$20. He has.
It was $100,000.
Well, who'd he pay? Who'd you pay?
Oh, yeah.
Secret Service was on top of him all
Secret
day.
Service.
That's that's
Homeland
federal
Security.
money. That's federal money.
That's what the Channel 5 reported. The cost of having him come up here on vacation.
Yeah, he
and the
was
coverage
down at Hubbardton.
and bringing in all those vehicles that are armored vehicles that have to come in by plane to make sure they protect him. Stay in Washington. Save the taxpayers $100,000.
Okay, well, what about your friend Obama when he'd go to Hawaii to play golf over Christmas and New Year's?
Well, you know something?
Then he went down to Martha's Vineyard to play golf during the summertime.
If he wants to go there, let him pay for it himself.
Well, who paid for that?
Any Democrat or Republican.
Who paid for it the last time?
Taxpayer.
All right. So,
You know? I mean, all of them down in Washington. Once you get there, the lobbyists own you. You know, when I was running for office, I got donations. I sent them back because I didn't want to be obligated to vote the way they wanted me to vote. You know, so a lot of our representatives here in the state of Vermont, Franklin County, take money from a lot of car dealerships and businesses, and you know, they sooner or later they'll get a tap on the shoulder. I want you to vote this way.
all right.
And oil dealers too.
Yeah. Anyways, I got that Chicago thing all. Every weekend on a Monday, I check out what the killing is, and these people who say they need to control guns. Well, you realize if you go back and Google this, it's been going on for about 10 to 15 years that these shootings have been happening on the weekends in Chicago, New York, and all those. I'm not saying it's nice that El Paso, that guy, what he did was wrong, but we got stuff right underneath our nose that happens every weekend, and nothing is done about it.
Yeah. Have you ever read the St. Albans Daily Messenger on the incidents that happen in the city of St. Albans, in the town of St. Albans, and now into Highgate? They have a little log in there, you know.
The chief usually talks about it.
Yeah, and some of the calls on me are totally stupid.
Yeah.
You know, someone screaming on Walnut Street.
Okay.
They have to send an officer down there.
Yeah.
Dog barking on Pearl Street. They send an officer down there. They should have an animal control officer. I know they do have one, but I don't know if they have him locally where he's out of Grand Isle, because I thought he was out of Grand Isle.
The new Green movement, those Republicans, those Democrats running for president, what they're talking about, what we're going to get rid of all the cows and all that stuff. So I've been watching this as well. On August 19 in 1899, what was the high temperature that day?
In August of that year?
Yeah.
75.
Nope. August 19th, 1899, it was 93 degrees. On August 25th, 1942, it was 97 degrees. On August 27th, okay, in 1948, it was 95 degrees. And on July 28th, 1952, it was 94 degrees.
So I imagine the way you're talking, you don't believe in that there's a problem with our climate.
August 29th, 2018, what was the temperature?
80.
97. Okay? So if you read these things from 93, 97, 95, 94, 97. So since 1899, it was 93 degrees on the 19th. And then the 25th was 97 in 1942. So for the temperature to be 829 in 2018, so what the temperature's been here, we've had this temperature. So if you go from 93 in 1989 to, I forgot what the temperature was today. They didn't show it because I usually write this down. We haven't gone that much. In 2018, it was 97, so it was 93. So 4 degrees from 1899 until 2018. That's not climate change.
So you don't.
That's not.
You're saying that climate isn't changing?
It changes every day.
Okay.
It changes every day. But
Why is the Antarctica, melting? It's all the time.
okay.
Is it a normal condition? Is it because of atmosphere? Look at the chemicals that China puts into the air, the pollution they put in the air. The United States doesn't pollute as much, but they do pollute.
India and China are our biggest ones. If you can tell me what it was 200 years ago, or if you can tell me in 1988, all right, what it was, then we need more information. The climate changes every day. It changes every minute of the day. If you look at your thermometer, it might start out at say 30, 39 or 60, and it goes up or down each day.
So you don't think that the pollution that we're dumping in the oceans?
I'm not talking about pollution.
Yeah, the chemicals.
When we're going to get rid of natural gas, gasoline, and all these what they're talking about. The Earth is not. The world's not coming to an end.
Well,
in my opinion.
Well, I think the climate is changing. Of course,
it changes every day.
But I think you're seeing a lot more that the Antarctica is thawing out and big chunks are falling off. I do feel that we're putting too many chemicals in the air and it's destroying our environment.
So all these people, the Hollywood stars, who saying they ride around in private jets, and they're polluting the atmosphere. Well, all these people who, your buddy, what's his name?
You got 3 vehicles. I have 2 vehicles. I pollute.
I don't have 3.
I thought you had 2. You had a truck. You had
a car.
And a car. Okay, I thought you had 3.
No, there's 2. I'm not rich like you.
I'm not rich.
No, but I'm saying I believe it changes. Since 1959, when I moved here, okay, we've had winters with no snow, and we had winters with a lot of snow. Right? It changes every minute of the day, and the people who are running for president on the Democratic side are going to cost us a lot of money. They want to get rid of carbon monoxide and all that other good stuff, and that's not costing. Like I said, when we can clean up China and India and other people, then all right. But I think we're doing a good job.
Well, we have to do a better job, in my opinion. When ocean liners dump loads of garbage and waste into the ocean, after it's gone through the process, you can't tell me that's not hurting our oceans and destroying them.
Well, what about the city of St. Albans and city of Burlington dumping raw sewer into Lake Champlain?
Well, let me state it this way. I worked at the city wastewater plant for 12 years. When they have an overflow, the solids stay in the plant. You can't put a hole in the dike but it's chlorinated and dechlorinated before it hits the bay. Back in the old days, in the 30s and 40s, when that plant first went there, you know, they didn't have the primary setup. They didn't have the secondary clarifiers. They didn't have the trickling filter. They didn't have all the chemicals that they put in there to chlorine and to disinfection. But, you know, if we don't keep up to date on these sewer plants, whether it's in Burlington or St. Albans or Shelburne and all those other places, you know, we're destroying our environment.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, is they're way off. They won't be elected president with a campaign like that.
Do you think Trump's going to get reelected?
I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about all those Democrats that are going to have a thing here. They don't have a clue on what the heck they're going to do. And most of them, and your buddy Bernie Sanders got some Pinocchios from the Washington Post, because he said over 500,000 people had to file bankruptcy because they couldn't pay their bill. And so they did some research on it, and they gave him some Pinocchios. So I'm telling everybody out there tonight, Bernie wants to pay your bills. So the next time you get a bill from the hospital or doctor, make a copy of it and send it to Bernie, and tell him to please pay for your health insurance and stuff.
If anybody wants to call in, our number is 528-5315, 528-5315. We'd like any response from any viewers watching us. Whether you're for Don or you're for David, you know, please call in. We'd love to have phone calls.
Well, the Democrats want to give free college, and then they want to say they want to pay off the debt of students who are in college right now. Where were they when my kids were going to college? I would have loved to have them pay off that bill.
Well, you know, college right now is too expensive. Should they pay them off 100%? No. If there's no pain in life, there's no gain. You know, should the college cost of going to college? My grandson wanted to go to Paul Smith College.
That's very expensive.
$41,000. That's not counting staying on the campus and all his books and his utensils that he needed.
What was his major going to be?
And culinary.
Culinary, right.
And I told him, I said, if you go through the 2-year college, don't come back to Vermont. They don't pay enough for a good culinary, you know, cook around Vermont. Go to the bigger cities, because, you know, Vermont is not a high-paying job. I stopped at a gas station on the way up. This person was out of high school, getting $10.78 an hour at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
he's out of high school. He's not a
school.
college graduate.
Not a college graduate. His mother and father couldn't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to make a comment, because, you know, in today's paper, Hannaford's extends new parental leave to employees. What's happening is a lot of these grocery stores and retail are having a hard time to keep employees. Why? They don't give them enough hours. 2, they don't pay them a halfway decent wage. And that's why they have a heavy turnover.
Mm-hmm.
One local store last week had 4 people book out sick, 4 people that didn't call in, and 1 person booked off sick. So, so in order to get good employees, you have to pay good employees. High school students, they should pay them whatever the federal wage is. If a person has graduated from high school, got a high school diploma, they got to give them at least $15 an hour. I know the Republicans don't like that idea because it's going to hurt every business there is around. I go to McDonald's right now. I get a hamburger, a French fry, and a soft drink. I'm paying $10. Back in the old days, I got it for about $7. But the employees are not getting a raise out of that. It's called profit. The more profit that these...
Well, I know about that. Like you said, when you were buying it, that cost of food and cost of electricity, cost of everything else has gone up. So I don't think that's 100% profit. It's probably a little bit of profit there, but I mean the cost of everything else. For example, in the state of Vermont, where's my chart here? Gasoline, all right? People have to go to work, right? And let me get this turned around here so I can see what I'm doing. The tax on gasoline in the state of Vermont is 31.2 cents. New Hampshire is 23.8. Massachusetts, this really surprises me. Massachusetts is 26.5. Rhode Island is 34. Connecticut is 36.9. New Jersey's 41.4. Delaware is 23. And Maryland is 35.3. And DC is 23.5. Then if you go down in Florida, it's 42 cents. And down in Georgia area, it's 53. So, I mean, they're getting nailed a little bit more than we are. But state of Vermont is a rural town. We don't have public transportation per se.
Yeah.
Where all these big cities, for example, where my son lives in Nashville, they have, transit things. You go, even Burlington has transit compared to Franklin County. They have a little bit about it. But the taxes in Vermont, as you well know, and this is why you're going to be moving out when you retire.
Once my house is sold, I'll come back here May through September, but I won't own any property in Vermont.
I keep telling people, when my son, he graduated from UMass with a degree in landscape architect, and then he got his master's at the University of Pennsylvania, and he came back home, and I said, Eddie, you can't live in Vermont. I said, what he does projects for now down in Tennessee, $500,000, $250,000 on these big projects, stuff like that. I said, people can't afford it in the state of Vermont, so you need to leave. So he lives in Nashville, and he's got some very good clients. All right, David Price from the Boston Red Sox, who makes millions of dollars a pitcher, is one of his clients. The governor of Tennessee is one of his clients. So I mean, and he does work at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the people down there, and he did work for a guy who was in the lumber business in Mississippi in his backyard for his daughter's wedding. They flew up a jet to pick him up, take him down there to do the work. He doesn't do the work, he just does the design stuff. So the state of Vermont needs to understand it. We're losing the young people, just us old folks are hanging around, and if you get smart old, you're moving to other places. And I know that you're looking at Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, all those where it's less expensive to live.
I don't, Vermont finally smartened up where they don't tax your Social Security pension.
Yeah.
They still tax your pension here in Vermont.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Texas, and Florida don't tax your pensions.
I think Georgia's in there, and I know South Carolina's in there as well.
I wasn't 100% sure about that.
Yeah.
But I saw something on Facebook today, and I wanted to talk about it because it was the Republicans that were trying to do it. Is they were trying to take, they have $8.2 billion surplus in the Social Security fund, and they want to take it out of there.
What?
That was on Facebook. So I hope those idiots in Washington, that's money that people that worked all their life put it there, and if there's a surplus, what about the people that are retiring in the future, this year, next year, and the future year? They worked their butt off just like I did and you did.
Yeah, they should put it into a plan and make interest on it and let it grow rather than do what you think they're going to do.
That's right.
And rob Peter, pay Paul.
Yeah, but that's usually what happened. I want to talk about the town of St. Albans town garage. If you get a chance, go down there and drive by it. It's starting to look very good. The outside structure, the walls and the roof, the beams are on. They hope to be in it by January. The town of St. Albans did need that garage. The voters voted for it. There's still some people that don't want the garage. They'd rather stay on the bay, but that bay garage, the old one, if you walk through and take a look, they got to tear it down and get it off the lake. The salt shed is too close to there. I know of two different times that the town of St. Albans had to pay for a reverse osmosis in two different houses down there. So we need to get it off the lake. What can we use that for? A boat launch.
There you go.
Because you're never going to be able to put anything there because the old oil barges that were there, the old oil lines that go out to where they used to unload.
Offload them with the barges.
Yeah. So that town garage is paid for by our 1% tax in St. Albans town. So that is it's not coming out of the taxpayer's pocketbook at all.
No, that's good. I know. I voted for that town garage up in Brigham
Yeah.
because it's beautiful. We need to protect our equipment. We spend a lot of money on that equipment and leave it outdoors in the weather.
Yeah.
And then if you have to work on it, the garage is going to be heated, so it's environmentally safe for everybody.
And you can be able to wash the trucks. Down at the old garage, you know, the water is sulfur, so you can't use it to wash the trucks.
Right.
So the trucks are going to last longer.
Yeah.
The equipment's going to last longer.
That's right. Well, that's the name
Yeah.
of the game is
Yeah.
when you buy something expensive, you take care of it so you don't have to replace it in a fashion. But it's going to look beautiful. I've gone by there a couple times, and of
Yeah.
course I've seen the drafts and stuff. And I thought that was the smartest thing they did, because I know at one time somebody was talking about putting it up on 104, right across from the gas station, you know, Valleys.
We're across from Upper Weldon Street. That's where they wanted to put it.
Upper Wall. Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's a failed intersection as it is,
Right.
you know, traffic. And the intersection where the interstate ramp is, that's failed. And the state of Vermont's got it in their mind about putting a roundabout over there.
That's crazy. There'd be more accidents you can
That's
shake a
right.
stick at.
Yeah.
What they need to do down there is the off-ramp, they need to widen it, because a lot of people want to go right,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to go straight, and a lot of people want to go left.
Yeah.
And what happens now at the end of the day, they're backed up all the way to the highway to get on that ramp, all right, because the lights are not long enough, and all the cars and trucks have to get in a line. Usually it's two, unless you're smart enough and you get over to that third one. If they opened them up so people could come down and make a right-hand turn, all right, and then people could make a left-hand turn if they had to. And those engineers are smart enough to figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you have, you know, because you go there in the morning and you go there in the afternoon, it's very busy, as you well know.
That's right. You know, there's quite a congestion there.
Yeah. It's a wonder there's not more crashes.
Yeah. The town of St. Albans is in the process of putting in their sewer line. And they're going to be putting it behind the garage, and they got, with the okay of the landowner and a deal that was struck by the town, to put the sewer line up there to where the school is, the elementary school, because that is the way to go. To put in a mound system down there would be very costly, and after so many years...
At the town garage?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so the mound system, you know, has got to be replaced.
Yeah.
So by doing that, hooking on the main city sewer, that was the best way to go. But, you know, when we're off the show, I'll tell you what the cost the state wants to charge, and the state of Vermont should keep their nose out of it unless the town of St. Albans is polluting, which they are not. You know, and the federal government gave them the okay to go that way, but the state of Vermont has got their nose in it, and they want to charge the town of St. Albans to put that line from where the garage is up to where the city school is, and it's astronomical. It's crazy. You know, so I'll tell you that after the show is over with.
What agencies talk about that? Environmental?
Yeah, because, you know, there's got a little bit of, you know, pollywogs up there, and we got some, you know, weeds, so.
Weeds, yeah. It's just like that bridge over in Alberg, the frog, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
It was a frog that was sitting there for years.
Yeah, they want to remove some of the old road there next to the bridge. I think it was like $1.3 million on the Vermont side, and 1.3 million. That was me. I accidentally hit the front of the thing. So, you know, it's crazy. We're down to about 10 minutes. You know, we'd love another phone call. You know, if people want to talk about anything we discuss or something they want to bring up, feel free. But tomorrow night at 5:30, the St. Albans Today show will be on. One person from the city, one person from the town, and Richard Copperthwaite will be...
he'll do a good job.
He does an outstanding job.
Yeah.
When they took
Moderator.
when they took him, he used to do articles every Thursday in the Messenger. When they took him out of there, I stopped buying the Messenger. Once in a while I'll buy it just because I want to know if my obituary's in there and I'm still alive. And my taxes ain't going up again. So. But school's back in session. A lot of kids are back in school. So when you're driving around the city, please be careful, because sometimes kids don't use the crosswalks. They just jar it out, and we don't need to have anybody get killed on Main Street.
And one thing that we're talking about on TV the other day is the people when school buses have the red lights on, people aren't slowing down or they're running it. When they put the blinkers on in the back, that means they're going to be stopping. So be safe, but wait for them to put the red lights on. Stay there until they go off, and then proceed. And don't jump the gun, because we don't know if a little kid's going to turn right when he gets off, and you might happen to hit him. So I mean, you're not in that big a hurry. That's what I find today a lot is everybody seems to be in a hurry.
Yeah.
You get on the interstate, it says 65. And if a police officer want to make his quota, he just have to go up one morning or one afternoon. That it says 65. Most of them are doing 80.
Yeah, those are the ones they ought to get. When I was out in Phoenix, Arizona, I was heading to Tucson. There's a speed limit sign out there on that highway of 80 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't go that fast because my wife wouldn't let me go that fast.
Yeah.
But the St. Albans City Shopping Center has redesigned their parking lot up there because, as we know, we lost one of our city residents, Mrs. Willett, Jimmy Willett's wife.
Yeah.
And she was hit out in front of that store, and now they got crosswalks out there, they got pedestrian signs out there, they got handicap signs out there, so it looks a lot better, and so people be aware that, that parking lot is a lot safer now. But
well, a lot of people, even when they're in the parking lot, they got their foot on the
gas pedal getting ready to go.
No, they're got in the carburetor.
Yeah.
They're going too fast. I mean, it seems like everybody's in a hurry for something, and then you get behind somebody, and they want to start pushing you.
Yeah. But the city's looking good. They're spending $20 million on that new project across from City Hall.
Yeah.
I don't know where that TIF money's coming from, but I got to have some of that so I can get my new mobile and modular.
That's going to be Community College of Vermont, right?
Community College. I think it's 2 or 3 tier floors.
And then the old Community College is going to be the police station.
Yeah.
Which they need.
Yeah.
They need that.
They should have bought that when Hoods went out of business, in my opinion.
Jimmy Warner bought it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy made some money off of that.
Yes.
Also on Maiden Lane, they're going to be putting I understand, I haven't heard, no official, that they're going to have a parking garage for the attendants there, and above they're going to have the apartments up on Main Lane, where they used to have Main Lane apartments across from the library.
Yeah, right. They tore the building down.
Yeah.
They're going to put a new building up?
Yeah, they're putting a new building up there, too.
Dick Hungerford put that first one up.
Yeah, yeah. And so the city's, got a lot of TIF money. I just hope the treasurer of the state of Vermont, doesn't say they're using it wrong again.
But the city of St. Albans does look nice.
It does.
You drive down there, it looks nice. When I was traveling a lot in the New England areas, over in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, it used to bother me because I'd come home and city of St. Albans didn't look nice.
It was outdated.
It was outdated. Compared down in the southern part of the state of Vermont, and then New Hampshire, and get in Maine. Go to Freeport, Maine, all right? But Alamein, it's a beautiful town. And now the city of St. Albans really does look nice.
Yeah.
You drive in, and you're proud to be here.
Yeah, a lot of people are coming here with fall foliage coming up.
Yep.
A lot of the motels, our Hampton Inn on Lake Street, will be full because, during the fall foliage, a lot of buses come up here.
Yep.
So that's going to be good. The Town Industrial Park, Tim Smith says there's 3 projects coming in the next couple of years with the industrial park beyond Ben and Jerry's. They also put in sidewalks down there.
I saw that. That's nice.
That's good. There's also a study between the city and town on putting a sidewalk from the city limits to Walmart to connect onto that one. So that study's in the process. I haven't heard any final results, but things are happening in St. Albans. I just hope the taxpayers can afford to stay here, though. Because that's the biggest thing. Once you retire, you're on a fixed income. Yeah. So you just can't go out.
Well, it must be we don't energize anybody to call up and tell us how poorly we did or how good we did. So
must be we talked all the good subjects and we didn't get anybody mad out there.
Yeah. Well, most of the stuff that I talked about, the shootings, which really upsets me, when you get national news talking a lot about what happens. Yes, that's bad, 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 bad. But every weekend in Chicago, Detroit, and what's the other one there? Baltimore. New York City,
Well,
L.A., all those. And look what happened out there in California, that boat that was going out
Yeah,
with that
the 34 people.
34 people went below deck.
Yeah.
And they're going, that is too bad. Those poor,
Yeah.
it's got to be one heck of a bad way to die.
It is. Plus, the boat went up in fire.
Yeah.
What do you think about gun laws? Should they change?
Well, I think they did something. They had something with one of those guys. They didn't do a complete background check on him. All right. When I bought my weapon, I had to get a background check, and doesn't bother me. I think they need to know about these flag stuff. What we need to do now, though, that kid down in Florida killed all those people. He was been arrested about 2 or 3 times for certain things, and he had a weapon. And what we need to do now is say, if you do this, you're going to go on a list, and we're going to take you in, and we're going to monitor you. And if we just could red flag them, go say, all right, we're going to take your weapon away from you. All right. There's got to be consequences when you do things bad.
Yep.
But I'm all in favor of background checks. Never report them.
Well, you also need to know if people out there are mentally unstable.
That's correct. That's where you need to do it.
They shouldn't have guns.
Right.
I'd
like to know some of those people in Chicago, because it's every weekend that happens. Who those people were? Did they arrest them? All right. I mean, that's a lot of shootings,
Well, you really want to have a treat, get the Courier on Thursday.
On Thursday?
Thursday, they have 2 pages of court
Court
people
fees?
going to court.
But
when my friend worked there, he was lucky. He said, "Well, we had 150."
Yeah. Like I said, when 6 people were killed and 36 wounded, that's a big daggone number, mister.
Yeah.
All right. You're smarter than me. 36 and 6 is what? 42, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot, and something's got to be done. Some of these criminals.
Capital punishment.
Well, Treasure Island, not Treasure Island. What's that island where they put them?
That was
Devil's Island.
Devil's
Island. Take them out there and let them kill each other.
Yeah. But it's so costly to keep people in jail.
I know.
Our correctional center down on Lord Newton Road. Someday we ought to get that guy in to talk about what it costs and what his budget is for the prison down there on Lord Newton Road.
That was supposed to be youthful offenders' first
right.
events,
Yeah.
back when it was sold to us by the state.
It's a maximum security prison now.
Now it is, yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, one of our prisoners died over the weekend, I think, in Mississippi.
Yeah, he killed his girlfriend, and he hung himself in the jail because he was in there for 20 years.
Yeah, down in Mississippi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to 1 minute and 29 seconds.
Okay.
So must be we didn't make anybody mad at us because
that's good.
we only got 1 call. Thank you, caller, for calling in.
Yeah.
Public access is willing to have any, stuff, people want to bring on news and stuff like that. I understand that the new radio station is doing a little bit better. I haven't, spoke to the people, but, it's nice to see that WRSA.
Where's that located?
It's located on Lord Newton Road, but we haven't, I know a guy that's working for him. And, this hard to get established because he needs funding through sponsorships, just like, public access has got sponsors of the sports show and stuff like that.
This is public radio or?
Regular radio, the WRSA. The one that was here.
WWSR.
WWSR.
You know what that means?
What?
WWSR? We want some revenue. No, the reason why I know that because I worked there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Bob Kimmel hired me.
Yeah.
I was a salesperson at WWSR.
Well, you need to wand it up. You're the host of the show. I'm just a big mouth.
Well, thank you very much, everybody who might have listened. I always enjoy being on this program with Dave because even though we don't agree on everything, we always respect each other. And this needs to be done in every way. Even when you're driving a car, don't be in a hurry. The person in front of you might be doing something different. It might irritate you. Don't ruin your life by doing something stupid. So thank you very much. And Linda will be back next week. Have a good week, and God bless you.
Amen.
Amen.